Hello, my name is Christopher Gillian. I'm an American knife maker, and in today's video we're talking all about salt and pepper bearings. This is going to be a frequently asked question video. I'm going to answer all your frequently asked questions. So in today's video we're going to talk all about salt and pepper bearing. This is my bearing that I make in-house. This is a salt and pepper bearing. The black balls are silicon nitrate and the white balls are zirconia. They're both ceramic and they're both just under the diamond on the hardness scale. This is the bearing that I put in the Fallen Star knife. This is the bearing that I used to use, and this is an industry standard. It is 440C stainless steel balls and a crimped retainer. These are the bearings now made in-house by myself. These are the bearings now made in-house by me. This is my salt and pepper bearing. And so you can see what I've done is I have increased the ball size. I have also increased the ball count. And this gives better flipping action and greater blade stability. You also get the benefit of pocket lint can no longer get down in these crimped retainer. Mine are sealed. And another benefit is they have longer spin times on the cycle, which makes them more smoother action. So I do make a variety of sizes of these. This one is the one that I put in my Fallen Star knife. I use 12 balls, and I also went with a very large diameter. This is the size that's typically in a folding knife out of China. This is a 5mm. And so you can see what I've done is I used larger balls. I increased the ball count, and I also spread out the diameter because I want the most blade stability I can get out of my bearings. And so what I did is I threw in extra balls and I increased that diameter. The idea is that to have more balls, you have greater blade stability. Everybody focuses on the ball count, but what's really most important is the diameter. You actually want to spread that load out. Typically these will come with 7 ball bearings inside. I went ahead and put 10 in mine. So I sell these. Somebody asked me to make some of these when they saw me making bearings. I said sure. And now I make these as well. I also make great big giant bearings for the Kershaw knives. This is for a Kershaw knife. This is the ceramic balls. The black ones are silicon nitrate. And the white ones are zirconia. Silicon nitrate was pioneered by NASA. It's primarily to be used where you can't lubricate. This is from the aerospace industry, ceramic ball bearings. The idea was that you wouldn't be able to lubricate these in space junk flying up in extreme temperatures. These white balls are zirconia. These white balls are zirconia. These are not Teflon or plastic balls. These are actually ceramic, white zirconia ceramic balls. They're just under the diamond in hardness. The zirconia ceramic balls also have the additional benefit that they have a lower coefficient of friction over the silicon nitrate, which means, in layman terms, they're slicker. Relatively comparable in hardness on the bone scale. And this is what I make my salt and pepper bearings out of. So let's talk a little bit about the diameter of the ball and what's that do to your knife as far as the smoothness of it opening and closing. A lot of knives have little balls, like in belly songs, for example, they'll have a 1.2mm bearing or a 1.3. They're really small. Or if you go into mass production companies, they'll use a 0625. I used a very large ball in mine. I've used 078s and 093s. The reason why is the larger the ball you have, the better it will roll. It's almost like a lever. You know, if you're trying to lift up this box right here, and you're using a lever, obviously, the longer lever you use, the easier it will be to move that box. It's the same way with the ball. You could think of the ball as being a larger lever. A good example of this also would be any kind of imperfections in the knife, for example, debris, pocket lint, anything that would possibly get in the race. The larger diameter ball will roll better on it. If you're shooting marbles on the driveway, like an asphalt driveway, and you're shooting with a small tall, that ball will fall into the pits and the dings of the asphalt. Whereas if you have a larger tall or a larger ball, it'll roll better. So you want a larger ball for better, smoother action. Now I want to talk to you about the race. So some makers will put a hardened washer in the bottom of their knife, and that blade will not have very good blade stability. The reason why is that it won't have all this extra surface of contact. You know, there's like a misconception out there that a race is a bad thing. A race is not a bad thing. A race is a good thing. A race gives your knife greater blade stability. If you're after a blade that is rock solid, no side to side, and changing the pivot screw doesn't change that, you want a deep race. Like production companies will use a deep race. A good example is Benchmade and the Benchmade Balisongs. They have a very deep race that gives great blade stability to a part that wants to freely roll. Conservatively, on the other end, if you want a drop shot action, they'll use a hardened washer, but that knife will never have the same amount of blade stability as a knife with a deep race. There's some sort of misconception that a raceway is bad. A raceway is not bad. A raceway is a very good thing. Raceways give good blade stability. And there's nothing wrong with the ball running on the titanium. Eventually the titanium will work harden, and so the ball will settle in. Or you can, some guys use a CNC machine and they'll push down to a certain elevation and make the raceway, that's fine. But don't think that a race in titanium is bad. It's not bad. And it'll give you greater blade stability. Okay, so there's three things you have to know if you're going to measure. Once you watch this video, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. One, you need to know the ball size. Two, you need to know the outside diameter. And three, you need to know the pivot barrel. Pivot barrel. Ball sizes. There's a few sizes that are super common in Balisongs. That's 1.2 millimeters, 1.3 millimeters, and 0.625. That's a 1/16 of an inch. 0.625 is by far the most common size. There's also 2 millimeters, and there's also 0.93s. 2 millimeters is also 0.078 in inches as a decimal. So if you're in Balisongs, you need to know the ball size of 1 of 3 sizes. If you're doing a production knife, it'll be 1 of 2 sizes. It'll be 0.625 or 2 millimeters. It'll read 0.78. And so far, only the Kershaw knives are the only ones I've ever found to have the 0.93, the KVT bearings. And I do make those. I make every size that Kershaw has. Well, they may not always be in stock. So there's your ball sizes. Very simple. These are the Balisongs. This one is what it most likely is, and or one of these right here. So you measure the ball. Let's go do that, and then at the same time I'll show you how to do the outside diameter and the pivot barrel. Pivot barrel is pretty easy too. So how do you know what to buy? Well, the best way is to measure with vernier calipers and micrometers. Another thing you do is browse the website and read the reviews. I actually rely on the reviews left by other people. So I make all the Balisong bearings. I make the Benchmade bearings. I make all the sizes for every zero tolerance Kershaw knife. And I do some of the more common ones, the 5 millimeter for knives out of China, the 3/16, the 1/4 inch, even the 6 millimeter. So how do you know what to do if you don't know how to use a micrometer? So I think you do is at the Cage Bearings page, you can scroll to the bottom and hit the site map. From there, there's the compatibility. Gillian's bearing compatibility list. It is not exhaustive. This is a disclaimer. This is based on reviews and other sources from the EDC community. There's thousands of knife companies. Despite whatever you may have heard, I do not know. the inner workings of the other maker's knives. I rely entirely on the reviews. But all of these have been confirmed, and it is a work in progress. I'm a one-man show. I try to work on the website and keep it up to date on Sundays. Just, there's thousands of knife companies. There's more than I have time to actually get to put on here. So check the reviews. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Again, my name is Christopher Gillian, and I'll see you guys in the very next video. Thank you for your support, and thanks for watching.